Welcome to this Music Weeklies anniversary series of interviews. My name is Tine Schenck. Oops, hang on, I'm going to do like this. And I'm here with Marta Lozano Molano, right, from Spain, Extremadura in Spain. And Marta, you're a composer and you have extensive classical training, as I understand it. But then you decided to break with the classical format a little bit and go into a whole new concept of social music and using music as a social awareness tool, I guess. And you have started, is it a cooperative, Wazo? Yeah. And I asked you to join this interview because I find it very interesting the way you use your music, as opposed to people who use it maybe more commercially or more classically, let's say, who work with orchestras or in that sense. So that's a little bit about you. But would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
So first of all, thank you very much. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy to be here with you all. And congratulations for this second anniversary.
Thank you.
So you presented me very, very well. Thank you. As you said, I'm a Spanish composer and also an activist. So at a certain point of my life, I decided to join both sides of my life. And I started to compose what I call social music. That is a music that promotes sustainable development, which is the sustainability in terms of social, economical, and environmental way. Not only in the process of the creation, but also in the results, because I really think that the music has a strong power to make transformations in people and in society. So nowadays, I work with this. Also, I work with the Agenda 2030 of United Nations, that they set 17 goals of sustainable development. So I try to work with these goals that, for example, gender equality, for example, or climate action, these kind of things. And nowadays I'm working on this, and I feel very happy doing this kind of job.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it sounds very meaningful.
Yeah, I feel very happy with this. Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. How did you know you wanted to be a musician?
This is not an easy question because we all start when we are children, very young. In my case, I started with music when I was 9 years old. I started in the local conservatory of my city, Cáceres, in Spain, and I started playing piano. I took piano lessons, music theory, everything. When I was finishing the high school, I had to decide if I wanted to continue with university or conservatory, because in Spain, the music performance is only in the conservatories. You can't study, piano at university. You have to go to music school or conservatory. So I had to decide. And by this time, I knew that I liked a lot the music performance, but for me, it wasn't enough. I wanted to be more creative, and I wanted to create my own music. So I decided that I needed to explore this side of creativity, and I decided to study music composition. And I think that it was a pathway, in your life, that you are doing your music and everything, and this with you, and suddenly one day you have to make a decision. And because I didn't thought about, I want to be a musician. Yes, not, I don't know. So when I had to take this decision, I said, I go for it. Yes, not piano playing, but I love music. So I decided to be composer, and I did my bachelor in music, not in university, because in Spain we can't make it in university, but in conservatory, that is the same level, is the same studies.
Right. And how did you get from that to where you are today?
Well, since I decided that I wanted to be composer, what I did was I did the bachelor in music in a music school that is very nice, that is called Musiquene, that is in the Basque Country in the very north of Spain. That was hard times, studying a lot, music theory, counterpoint, orchestration. And then I decided that I wanted, even though in the creative part of music, in the composition, I wanted to be like more creative. So I decided to apply for a master at Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London. And I did a master that it was very nice because it was based in collaboration. Collaboration with dance, collaboration with the opera studies, with poetry, these kind of things. That it was very nice time there. But I was happy finishing my study. I was living in London, very exciting for young composers, a lot of things happening in there. But I'm from, as we said before, I'm from Spain. And I was born in a region that is in the southwest, in the border with Portugal. And this is a special place. So at the beginning, I was very happy to be in London, with his studies. I was working as a musician, music theory teacher, harmony teacher, also composing. My music was sounding there in London, but also in Europe, in America. I was very happy with this. By this time, I was also conducting a local chorus, and also was singing at London Symphony Chorus, the chorus of the London Symphony Orchestra, and it was very nice times, I have to say, because also with the London Symphony Chorus, we were sharing a stage with London Symphony Orchestra, Berliner Philharmonic, very nice.
Wow.
Worldwide tours, like very international, very nice. It was very nice time. But despite the fact that I had what I consider a successful career for a musician nowadays, that is very hard to be a musician nowadays, I decided to return to my hometown, to the region where I belong, because I felt this responsibility to build in this region where I was born. Because, as I said, this region that is in the southwest is called Extremadura, and it's a region, it's a rural place. So, when you are in rural places, the population is very low, we are a few of us only. There is also a risk of poverty of almost 50% of population. That is high in here. Also, the unemployment is very high as well. For example, for young people in the last semester here for young women is the 100%. So all women are unemployed under 25 years old. So it's like, oh my God.
And it's been hard in Spain for a while, though, because I lived in the UK from 2012 onwards, and there were so many Spanish immigrants at that time because times are really hard in Spain. So they're still hard then after the crash and the...
Yes, no, it's going worse, with the
now it's a new crash, I guess.
The lockdown and everything. But yes, and this is an issue for this region. That is, rural areas always are, there is a gap.
There's the same here in Norway.
Yes. But at the same time, it's not everything bad in here. We have also many potentialities. We have a lot of biodiversity, a lot of natural heritage, a lot of cultural heritage, castles and these kind of things. That is very interesting. And also, we have the very famous Serrano ham. It's not Serrano ham in here because this is common, but it's the Iberian ham. So jamón serrano, jamón ibérico. That's very good. The cheese, the oil. We have a nice weather, like now that is very hot right now here. I had the responsibility to as a person with what I consider a successful career, to go back home and try to build So other young people don't have to leave, because they don't have any other chance. If they want to build a cultural or, music or, I don't know, theater, dance, wherever, they don't have to leave. But we have to start building things so we can have the context where the people can do the things. So what I did, I returned. At the beginning, was hard because, I was there with my jobs and everything. And I returned. But, it's at the beginning was a little bit hard, but it is proof that, that creative and cultural industries in general, not only music, can have a very positive impact in communities. Not only because you can express, your emotion and these kind of things, or for example, with the music performance, but also with local development. There are many kind of jobs that you can do in the creative and cultural industries, and this is something that I was thinking a lot about this. To have something useful for society with the music that I was doing, or culture in general. So. I decided to work with this potentiality also of the creative industry in general, not only music. And at the same time, I was very interested in social and solidarity economy. That is a way of developing communities with giving priority to the people, to the well-being of the people, and also of the planet. So you can work with solidarity, social cohesion, gender equality, the reduction of inequalities, climate action, these kind of things. So when I returned, I decided to focus my music part of my life in social music. As I said before, with the it's very difficult for me in English.
You're doing great.
Sustainable development. And also I met another two professionals of creative industries that are Andrea Vincenti, who is Italian, but he was living in Spain, and José Luis Díaz, and we three decided to co-found Wazo Coop, that is the cooperative that you mentioned at the beginning, that is a non-profit organization that we work in the empowerment of the people of the rural areas, because we want to promote the positive impact in the rural area. So we develop programs, we work a lot with women's rights, with gender equality, with the prevention of violence against women, digital gap, local development, these kind of social things that are always very useful, because we still have to work a lot in this, not only in this region, in general, in the whole society, but we work in this, and we develop, social programs, training, campaigns in social media, audiovisual things. Nowadays, from this point when I decided to be a composer, now I'm composer of social music. I'm also the president of this non-profit organization, and it's very busy, but I feel very happy with this.
Oh, that's great. And if we talk a little bit about your music, because you sent me a list of some pieces and I listened to them, and I also read or used Google Translate to read what you've written about them. And I really love how you tie the causes into the music the way you do. And I especially love the piece Sisu.
Yes.
That's also a concept that we hear about in Norway, because we share a border with Finland. So we have like a little bit of a Finnish neighborhood situation going on. And we talk about Finnish Sisu all the time.
Yes.
That's like a bit of a stubborn stamina kind of thing, the way we use it. And then I read I love the piece on its own. I love the juxtaposition between the beautiful, classically beautiful, and then the chaotic sort of
the empowerment of the...
Yeah, exactly. And this piece was written as an ode to feminism, you say.
Yeah.
And just encouraging the society to think about and act for gender equality, I guess. And you have several of these pieces that have, for instance, Estamos Contigo it's against violence against women, right? Or it's, I don't know how to say that, not for violence against women, but
against.
But at the same time, that piece is also a piece that you intended for teaching or for learning the piano, right? So it's a piece with a narration choir of a sense. They're narrative, right? And there is a piano playing in the background a little bit, or I guess. And I love how you weave these things together. Like there is a cause and a story, but there is also learning in that same piece. And I think that's really nice, because I used to study classical piano as a teenager or a kid, and I never had anything like this. It was all like, okay, here is some Bach, here is some Mozart. The title was there, and that was it. No more information. And
right.
Yeah, and do you want to talk a little bit about what brought you into using music as a, I don't want to say a tool, but as a voice?
Yes, I also say that it is a tool, because it's not always the goal, but it's the mean, where you can achieve certain things. For example, with the first piece that you mentioned, the Sisu, this is because I went to Lapland, that I have, a trip that changed my life. It was very, very nice, very, very nice experience, because it was a trip with people from underdeveloped regions in Spain, that we were all working in companies or non-profit organizations, that is women leaders of organizations, that we went to Lapland to meet with other ladies that they were more senior, let's say, like with more experience, many years more than us, working in companies and charities and these kind of things. And we went there, to Lapland. It was very nice. I had a bath, after the sauna. I went to the the bath. Yes, I love it. God. I love it. I did it twice, not one, twice. I loved it. It was very, very, very nice experience. Also because we're only women, And by the time that I did this trip, I had the commission to write a piece related to. It was open, but it was a project called the Clara Schumann Legacy. So it was a project for where there was a commission of a few composers that all female. It was open. So I decided to, as it is a very female leadership, empowerment and everything, to work with this. To have also, these two sides of the same thing. Like Sisu is more contemporary, despite the fact that it has like a more classical thing, and also Estamos Contigo, that is like very the language is more easy to understand for people that is not very in the contemporary music. And in this, it's a reflection, because I use the more classical aspect of the music, like the patriarchy, that is very comfortable for society. So it's like sometimes the empowerment is not so beautiful, but it's necessary. Yeah. So this piece tells how any woman, I don't know, maybe myself, that decide to take over, and lead their own change and be powerful and decide that I don't want this, I want to be free, I want to take my own decisions, I don't like patriarchy, I want gender equality. So this is more, more in the contemporary, like more in the classical way of doing music, because this was for a concert, a commission for a concert in a theater, like normal concert. And at the same time, I work with projects like Estamos Contigo, that the translation is We Support You. So it's about the prevention of violence against women, but that was a audiovisual campaign, but the campaigns that we developed, because that was a campaign developed with Wazo, the non-profit organization where I work, and I'm the president, but always in a very positive way. We want to do things like very open and very, very kind. It's a horrible topic, but we think that with positive feelings, we can also get a very nice feedback. So the campaign is about that. Don't be afraid. If you have this kind of issue, look for support. There are professionals, there are friends, there are family. We are like a network of people that will support you. And if you decide to stop the situation, if you feel it, don't worry. We will support you. We are here for you. So the music had to be like very, very open. And sometimes the most simple things are like the strongest. So at the same time that I had to write this music for this audiovisual thing, I always work in different levels, because I think that, as you said, like when you were a student, when we were students, it's like the Bach, the Mozart. That's something that for that reason, I didn't want to be like, pianist, and I prefer to do other things, because I think that the contemporary music, or let's say a music that is like more in the contemporary classical thing, that has to be always like in the very top difficulty, that you need a lot of skills to play like 3 months for this. We have to also to educate children and young people and young performers that there are other options, and that you can also learn and educate in values good for society, not only music. And sometimes, music is not very aware of the social issues. Maybe this is one of the reasons, because sometimes classical music is not very welcome for the general public, because like we have like a gap with reality.
Yeah, especially contemporary classical music, I think.
Yes. Contemporary, inside the classical, there is a gap with the public, and contemporary is like the gap is huge. So I have been working for many years writing what I called educative music. That is music that it can be like the concept can be very high, but the performance can be simple or more simple, for people that are learning to play the piano, that you can be like for 5 years playing the piano, or 20, I don't know. If you are a professional, the level is higher. But if you're a student, I think that it would be very nice to have more repertoire, so the students can learn, and also to be like more civic people, for the society.
Yeah, and also have confidence in younger people, that they can understand that these issues are worth being aware of and worth fighting for.
Yes, in fact, young people are open-minded.
Yeah, exactly. And we maybe don't trust them enough always. But I know if I was 17 and was given a sheet music that said "Stay Strong" on top, that's one of your pieces. Yes. I would kind of find that very welcome. And also I would probably be intrigued as to, first of all, I would probably just interpret the whole title into what I was playing, which is less so with lyrical piece opus number 12. It doesn't say anything.
Yes.
But also I would hopefully be curious as to why is this piece written for a Stay Strong piece. It's very, very mellow in the beginning, at least. Yes. And it's like these 3 or 4 chords that you just repeat and repeat, and in different variations. And but this one was also performed, wasn't it, for several different occasions? Was that the one with the LGBTQ, etc.?
Yeah. Yes. This is a piece, Stay Strong, that is not only a piece, it's a call to action. It's like staying strong and shine like a diamond. A diamond, because, the diamond is the strongest stone, So it's a piece that it's an invitation for the people that maybe they don't play, so they can listen, or the players. It's a piece to listen or to perform in those times when we have to remind ourselves that we are strong. It's not be strong, it's stay strong, because you already are. You just have to find this strength in your inside. And this is, I thought that maybe with this minimalistic aesthetic can be like more powerful to transmit this idea, and also can be received for people that is very it has a high knowledge in classical music, contemporary music, and also for people that maybe they're interested in music or in culture in general, and they can both this range of people can receive this message. And it has been played in many places. One of them is the Gay Pride, or LGBT. I don't know very well the pronunciation in English. In the Gay Pride, for example, here in the town where I live, that made me very happy. Because sometimes, in rural places it's difficult, first of all, have this kind of celebration. Also because, it was played by a person that is very nice person, and also she's very activist in this field. And she was also my student. So we have, grown up together when I was her teacher, and now she's playing my music, and I feel like very, very, very proud of her because she's very nice. And also in different kind of venues, like, for example, in an artistic place with sound installations and these kind of things, like very artistic place in Uruguay, in Montevideo. And it was very nice because it was everything, different ways of artistic expressions about gender equality and, the inequalities, how to fight about the inequalities. So this is a very special piece for me, I have to say.
Oh, I loved it. I just all your pieces they have depth. And also because you give the message right there, here is what you thought, and here is what, and then of course we make our own interpretations. But I just like that you explain what it is that you intended it to be when you wrote it. Yeah. And I think that, and also you have like a piece about life underwater, Wanderlust, right?
Wanderlust. Yeah.
And that had something to do with a sustainable maritime cause, I guess.
Yes, all of the pieces are related with these 17 sustainable goals development, and this is a piece that, if you listen to it, sounds like the sea, the waves of the sea, like very crystalline sound. And this is a reflection because I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time in the south of Italy. That, for all the people who is listening, if you haven't visited the south of Italy, go and when everything finished, please. Now it's very hard. But if you have the chance, go there. The place is Puglia, that is the region, and in the very south is Salento. That this is a very, very nice place where I have the chance to spend time there because I have family there, and it's a place where you can find inspiration, like this is beautiful place, a lot of heritage, the food, the weather is nice, the sea and everything. They have the sea and the life below water is so important that many times we have, for example, me, that I'm, from the inside of Spain, the sea is very far from here, that many times we have this feeling with the sea that is a place to have fun, you go to the beach, but we have to take care of this because we can enjoy this, but if we all don't take care of the seas and the beach and all the natural heritage that we have, we won't have this opportunity. So I thought that with this very interesting word, that it was very trendy as well some years ago, this wanderlust spirit, the spirit to discover places. It doesn't matter where you go. The important thing is that you are traveling. So there are so many things that we can enjoy if we all take care of our the planet Earth, and the sea and everything. That I thought that it was a very good proposal to find this thing that take care of the sea. It's very nice to be on beach and on holidays and everything, but there are an amazing place inside this water that sometimes we are here on Earth and we don't notice, but there are a lot of life and we have to take care about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Would you like to talk a little bit about your creative process in creating these pieces? Not these specifically, but in general, if you want to select a piece, that's absolutely perfect. Or you can just talk us through what you normally do.
It depends. It depends on the piece, but as far as I compose social music, that nowadays is mainly what I do in terms of music. The social topic is very important for me. So first of all, when I have to create this kind of music, I have to know the topic. What is the cause of the music? So before starting to design or what I have to do, I need to know two things when I have to create. The first thing is what I said, this purpose. What is this music for? This music is going to be about a contribution in gender equality, for example, or life below water that we said before, or about climate action. This is something that I need to know, because depending on this, I will take some decisions, This is the first thing. And the second is what kind of project I'm going to be involved. It's like a traditional concert, or like, for example, Sisu, that was a piece for a traditional concert on a theater. Or it's going to be like Estamos Contigo, that is a social campaign, for raise awareness about whatever. So having these two things in mind, I start to design the music. But I have to say that I'm like very active when I'm designing, always in the process. I'm not a person that I don't have any idea at all, and I sit in the table and then, oh my God, the paper in blank. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I have many ideas. I have to decide which one is good and which one is not. Okay. So what I do to organize, the title, the duration, the harmony, the whatever. What I used to do is to organize what I have named for myself creative visits. So as I live in Extremadura, where there are a lot of natural places, I organize like a little trip. And I go there, like it's so quiet, the nature, the birds it's very nice. Mm-hmm. So I go there to find inspiration. I take like a little notebook or whatever, or maybe with a telephone I make some notes or whatever. And I go there. Also, I used to walk, because it's not about sitting and waiting for the inspiration. I walk, and I'm always, when I start having these ideas, I can write down, or maybe I take a note with the microphone of whatever of the smartphone, or maybe I just cooking or cleaning my house. I don't know. I'm always doing something like in movement. And by the time that when I really sit in the piano or with the computer, I have a clear idea. By the time that I sit, it's like everything was there, and suddenly it's like I write everything. Oh, wow. And I have to say that I have changed a little bit the way of my composition in the last years, because before, when you were a student, it's like everything like, you have to do this and that. But nowadays it's like, I set some challenges for myself. And for example, this kind of things that with the creative visit and I think, and then I'm doing things, and then I go and write down whatever. I continue to do it. But for example, in the last piece that I have written, it was more like a painting, like with these groups of colors. And then you are like step by step, like doing the draw like more clear. I have worked with this, and I'm happy. I don't know what I will do in the next piece, but I like to change and to find new challenges, because otherwise it's always the same, and always the same. It's not funny. That's why we are composers. We have more things in life. So this is more or less what is my process in the creation of music.
And you write this mainly on paper then, or do you sit at the piano and sort of suss it out, or do you sing it, or?
It depends. When it's contemporary music, it's more difficult to sing it, you know.
Yes.
It's more difficult. But it depends. Yeah, before I was very in the writing directly, you know, in Sibelius, in the computer and everything with the score. Or I don't know, with Pro Tools, I can record a couple of things or whatever. But lately, I'm working more with paper, even though I save a lot of paper, and all my scores are only available on digital. But I try to recycle all the papers that I have around that I use. And maybe, at the office, I take this paper and I use it, for the music and everything. And I take some notes also to have the freedom of the blank paper, because sometimes the system of, I don't know, Sibelius, that you have, the bars and everything is like, I feel like, oh my God, I'm too close. I need like a blank paper so I can let my creativity go. So normally I use both. I start with the idea. I can I can try a couple of things with the piano, a little bit on paper, not too much, and then I go to the Sibelius or Pro Tools or the computer. The process in paper is not too long. Because it's like, oh my God, if you want to change something, it's like you have to erase everything and then write. This is too long, when you are creating and something is like, this is too long. I need to read on Sibelius and, it's like just return and you delete it and that's all. So, yes.
Yeah, I've never used Sibelius, but I actually had my first meeting with Adore in 1997 with Logic, then Audio. I was talking to one of my old school friends yesterday about this. And for me, that was like, oh, I don't ever have to compose on paper again. Yay! But I was up until that point when I was 18, I didn't know it existed even. So it was all paper-based, right? But now we have this plethora of methods to actually create our music. And sometimes I've also just sang harmonies into my phone and that was the piece. It's never been notated. It doesn't exist as MIDI or anything. It's just an audio file. So
that's good.
But you were talking a little bit about your sources of inspiration, nature, and the causes, I guess, are also sources of inspiration. And how does it factor into when you have like a commission or do you get commissioned pieces a lot, or do you have to sort of come up with the idea and then you get someone to take it on? Or
I work in many ways. In general, the working with commissions for me is not a problem. I'm not a composer that, my God, I have a deadline. I have to write for piano, but my idea is very good for trombone. I don't know, for example. So I don't used to struggle with commissions. If, for example, just to make an example, if I have to write for wind band, and maybe I have never written for wind band, what I do is to study, from books and scores. I ask performers, conductors, and these kind of things. About these other parts of the commissions that are used, sometimes are an issue for composers, like duration. This is like the big thing, the duration. When you have a commission and everything. When this is when you don't propose it. I mentioned it that when you receive the commission. For example, you have to make a piece of 3 minutes, and your idea, I think that if your idea has to be developed in 10 minutes, then it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So just leave it for this piece, keep it for maybe a future piece. So if you have a commission of 3 minutes, I write 3 minutes. It's like if my idea is bigger, then it's not a good idea for this project. So when I receive a commission that I work, in both, I propose and I receive the commission. I don't used to have this kind of struggles of duration or these kind of things. I also propose collaborations for some performers that they have some projects, but I have to say that most of the project I work inside the organization of Wazo. So inside the project, we design projects. So in the projects, I include this music, this music part. So, for example, in the piece of Estamos Contigo that we mentioned before, from the beginning, I knew that I was going to do the music. So it was a proposal. It's like, I want to make the music. It's like, I want to make the music for this. So I know from the beginning that there will be music composition. I'm the only composer of the organization, so I don't have to negotiate with more composers about it. But I used to include it inside the social projects, because when you start a pathway, this social music pathway, your venues are others. So your projects are not so related to the traditional stage, and you start working in other places with local communities, with social projects, audiovisual campaigns, other kind of works that normally maybe performers are not working on this. So many times I work with piano because I'm pianist. So I write pieces that I can record by myself. So I can deliver like the whole thing, the music and the playing and everything. So this is what I do, but I also receive commissions, I have to say. But it's very specific, and I have to say that classical music, contemporary music is not very in the social aspect. So there aren't so many opportunities that I had before before I was working like many composers you receive a commission and you say yes and you do it and everything. But now that I'm more focused in music, in social music, I don't want to work with projects that are not social. And fortunately, I receive many project ideas, so I can select the projects that are related to the social thing. Even though if it is not social, I propose, can I make something like more social? If they say yes, then okay. If not, this goodbye.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about the type of projects you do in Wazo then? Because you say music can be an integral part, but what is let's say, a whole of a project within the organization? What would that be?
Well, we have as organization, we have our own, plans of development of the local communities and region, and we have a plan of the translation would be this difficult word, sustainable development of the heritage of Extremadura, and we have under this huge program that is a 10 years program, we develop the heritage in terms of material and immaterial, tangible and intangible, what you can touch and what you can't touch. So part of it is the cultural heritage, and the music is one part of it. And music is very important, not only in the projects that we develop where music is included, not only the music composition that is made by, let's say, a professional when I do it, but also as a tool for social transformation. When you, for example, work with singing music, we have what we call team building goals, because singing in groups, you can develop so many skills to work, cooperation, respect for others, confidence, this kind of things. And we work with music in many things. So I have to say that always that we have this kind of team building goals and this kind of projects that are collaborative. Also, we make collaborative pieces. So,
cool.
but we work with people that is not they are not musicians, but we have a methodology where based in democracy and this kind of elections where you can choose a couple of things and that we build a collaborative music piece and then we perform and everything. And I'm always creative on this because I always propose, like the whole frame for the collaborative pieces, or in the team building, I write little pieces so the people can, but it's like the little commissions for this kind of group. So instead of trying to find, in the repertoire, it's like, oh my God, I need a simple piece for this group of people. Maybe I write it, and it's very, very, very creative. And we create, these tools and methodology to work with music. Even though the project is, as I said, about cooperation, we include the music because music is a tool very, very, very important, and we can learn many things from the practice.
Yeah, and maybe we think too little about that as composers or music producers. Just to think how people actually listen to pop, for instance, where a lot of people listen to it to like be picked up or or if they're, heartbroken, they listen to a specific type of music. And it has a lot of influence on how we perceive the world.
Of course.
But maybe we don't tap into it enough. Although I will say I work with games, and there is increasingly, of course, like immersion into gameplay, and that immersive quality can make one go more deeper to find emotions, for instance. So maybe it's coming, but it's nothing like what you're doing, which is at the same time giving meaning to the performers, I guess, like not just to the listeners, but to the actual people who are involved as well.
Yes, this is what I said about that. It's important the process, not only the result. At the beginning, I said this social music is not about only the result, but also the way of the process. That, for example, when we make a performance, for example, when we make a collaborative, for example, one of the pieces is the translation. The name is Únicas. The translation will be Uniques. That it was from a project of emotion management and empowerment for women with disabilities. And by means of music, we can work with these kind of things of the empowerment. And then we created a piece that finally was like a blues, it was very, very nice. With the performance, we had, the electric guitar and everything, and we're singing, very nice. But, we have a performance, but the important thing is not the public. It's about we all showing our work and the celebration of the work that we have done. So the public as well, we invite people to join our joy of have been working on this. So this is what I said before, like when you work on this, like the framework is different. So the commissions start to be different. And, like there is a point where, the way this is like the traditional music career and other kind of classical contemporary music, where step by step you are getting far, far, far from the other part, because it's two realities. Sometimes it's difficult to combine both.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're doing a great job in taking that experience from one into the other, which it's I really love what you've created in this.
Thank you very much. I think that we all composers can make it, because at the very end, what is composition? It's about making decisions. It's like this instrument or that instrument, this pitch or that pitch, this duration, or at the very end, we have what we have learned when we study composition in the conservatory, university, or wherever, or by composing, at home, is to make decisions, to make proposals of project. A piece of music can be a project, and we can these skills that we have learned from composition, we can apply to so many fields that we have to be empowered, because we know many things that for me, it's like I feel like I'm the whole day doing the same. Sometimes it's in the music world, sometimes it's designing a project, but it's about making decisions, about taking things into places and a proposal for the people, or for the organization where I want to collaborate, or these kind of things. It's always the same. So we have the skills. We just have to change a little bit the focus and understand that this is something that I feel a little bit upset, because I think that composers, especially composers of contemporary music, we are like the weakest part of the contemporary music world. It's like it's more the jobs, or the better jobs, or it's everything in the performers, the festivals, the concerts, and everything. And I feel like a little bit upset, because we have so many things to offer and to give, that maybe if we open the range of the things that we can do, we would be like, the composers will be happier. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's very good to think about, really. I should think more about that.
Yes, I invite contemporary music composers to think about it. We have many things to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you want to achieve with your work finally? I guess you sort of got there along the way a little bit in the discussion, but if you have some closing words on that.
I think that what I would like to offer is a tool. For me, it's a tool. What I do is a tool for reflection, for social transformation. What I do is to try to provoke emotions, this kind of emotions that only can be provoked by music. That not about the lyrics. It's about this connection, of emotions with the music. That I think that are this kind of emotions that make people to change their environment. To push them to achieve their goals, to work for people's rights, for environment preservation, these kind of things. I think that the music can connect with this kind of feelings of people. So I think that the final purpose for me is to offer this reflection and try to wake up this kind of feelings in the audience, so they can achieve the goals that they decide. I'm open with it. I offer a proposal, but you are open to think, to reflect wherever you want. So just feel free and be responsible with society and the planet.
Yeah, well, that's a great goal to want to achieve. I mean, to want to offer that to people. I think we should move over to some community questions that we received, because we had a thread a few months back where we invited people to put some questions. And one that many asked was, what's the best advice you have for people who want to break into your field?
Good question. My best advice is go for it. Go for it. If you want to do it, go for it. If you want to, I don't know, maybe leave the academic world, that is more where contemporary music composer used to be. Don't be afraid. Go for it. If you need some training, it's okay. Get some training, learn, discuss with inspiring people, attend to courses, read on blogs or YouTube or wherever, and go for it, because I'm sure that if you need some things, I don't know how to say it. If you have things that you think that you need to learn, it's okay. We'll have to learn always. Don't wait too much. Go for it, learn a little bit, and then go and go for it, and you will achieve if you work in the good direction.
That's a good advice. Did you ever have to deal with imposter syndrome?
We all have, I think. At least a little bit. Nowadays, I feel more empowered with this. But this is something that is normal. Sadly, it's something like very normal nowadays. The people is feeling like an imposter. But what I do is I work a lot in my leadership skills. This is very important. Composers are leaders. This is not something bad, because you are a leader because you make a proposal. So it's part of your job to be a leader. So I work a lot in this, in the leadership and in the empowerment. And when I feel a little bit, oh my God, I don't know enough about it, it's about the tip that I said before. I learn, I test, I train, I ask people that they know, but not too much. I mean, yes, but I have to test things. I mean, it's not about learning your whole life, because it's not only about learning, it's about applying what you learn in the project or in the thing that you want to do. So when I feel a little bit about this, I learn and then I go for it. And then you notice that, oh my God, if I know to do it, it's like, I know it. I didn't know that I was going to achieve it, but I did it. So, okay, I'm not an imposter. I'm in a good way.
Yeah. And how do you deal with potential burnout? Do you ever get the feeling that you should calm down, or can it be too much?
This is hard. This is hard for me because I work too much. I work too many hours, especially since I started working with Wazo. That is like, there are schedules. Your work day is like 25 hours per day, 25, not 35.
Oh, geez.
40 hours per day. So nowadays I'm like calmer with this, and more strict with my rest. Because we are creative people, and to be creative, you need to rest.
Yes.
So it's very important to rest because, for example, one day you work and then you, instead of working, I don't know, 10 hours, you want to work 15 hours. This is not, unless you have a deadline and you have, I don't know, maybe you have to do it for a special reason. But it is better if you you rest, you go for a walk, you make a tea, or you take an ice cream, or wherever, you sleep, sport, whatever. And then the following day you go, you work, and you will be more focused because you have rest. So you work faster. If you work too much, you work slower. In my experience, it's like you need too many hours because you are too tired. And when you are when you take a good rest, things that you can make in 30 minutes, when you are very tired, it can take for you, I don't know, 3 hours. And it's something very simple, and you are so tired. So I'm working with this. I'm strict nowadays with this. So it's like, okay, I have to finish at this time. I finish, I rest, I go to sleep, I call my mom, wherever, and I stop working. And I feel grateful for this at the following day because I feel focused and I can work and I can enjoy the work. That is the point, to enjoy your job and the work that you do. So I haven't been like in a real burnout, but it is true that with the lockdown, I have learned also as well to be like, you have to rest more. So I'm like very calm now with this.
Great.
So it's like, well, I do it. I respect my own rules of rest. So yes, I sleep more and I'm happier, At least, I sleep 7 hours. Before that was something like impossible. And now it's like 7 hours. Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, a lot of musicians probably have more stress now after Corona, but at least we maybe have more rest as well. So... But I have to say also personally, I'm very strict with weekends, and I can sense that if I have worked on the weekend, then when Monday comes, I'm like, I feel so low in motivation. Like I don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
But then if you have 2 days off and then come back to it, it's like, yay, full of new, I have missed it, sort of. So.
Yeah. You are right. Otherwise, if Monday is like this, oh my God, you are looking forward for the Friday. It's like the weeks are horrible. It's like, oh my God, so tired.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have a few one-liner questions before we finish. And given the choice for making music, would you choose a DAW, paper or notation, I guess, working inside your head or on an instrument?
It depends. Can I choose two options? Only one. If it is a commission, when it is a commission, that is something that comes from outside, even though if it is a proposal that I propose inside a social project, I start working inside head, and then I used to go to paper. Some bullet journal, that is something that came to my life, the bullet journal that I strongly recommend to everyone. Some bullet journals on paper, and then I go to use the technology, the Sibelius Pro Tools. But when I'm just trying to have fun from the beginning, I go, with the Pro Tools. I use a virtual instrument. I connect, the keyboard, and it's just fun. And sometimes it's only an audio piece. Sometimes I have to write down in the, to make the proper score, so I can do it. So mainly first inside head, but if I want to have a lot of fun, and then I start from the technology.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. What one thing would you like to experiment more with?
I would say to work with bigger groups of performers. For example, like more chorus, more wind band, more orchestra. I have had opportunities, of course, but this is something that you don't have in your everyday. So when you have
in the garden.
Yeah. When you have the opportunity, it's like, oh, it's not enough. I want more. So I would like to work more with this. I have had many experiences with chorus because I have worked a lot with chorus as a singer, as a conductor. But for example, I only had the chance to work with wind band once in life. Was this year, at the beginning of this year. It was the first time. It was very nice. The wind band has many possibilities, and I enjoyed a lot. I would like to have more opportunities, and also orchestra. That I also have very good recordings, and I have done pieces and everything. But this is 100 people there for you, so I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Which music trend peeves you the most?
I don't know what to say. I don't have any music that bothers me like a lot. Maybe it's more about the lyrics more than the music. It's because there are some lyrics that they are not very in the gender equality, or maybe there are some discrimination in the lyrics, and this I feel sometimes very bad because I think this music is very good. Why this music has these horrible lyrics? So it's not about the music, but it's more about the lyrics. It's more about the lyrics, and it's together inside. So it's like, okay, I can't listen to this kind of music.
I just have to shoot in one here. Did you ever hear Pink's? I think she wrote it for Ellen, the talk show, and the lyrics are, "I feel so vicious when I don't feel delicious." And I thought, Pink, you fell down.
Yeah. There's a rhyme, but no.
I thought she was a feminist. But well, okay, maybe she does need to feel delicious. I don't know. What's your music guilty pleasure? Do you want to divulge, or do you want to keep it a secret forever?
I'm not sure if I can say it, but I'm empowered and I don't feel guilty listening any music. I'm empowered and I'm an empowered woman.
Yes.
But if I have to say something, maybe this kind of music that is not because it's something is music to be ashamed, to be listening to it, but maybe this kind of music from when you were a teenager, like Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys. I love it, and I still remember the lyrics. So when times to times I listen some of my old CDs. It's like love it. I feel young.
Okay, well, it's good to know. Well, thank you so much for giving us insight into everything, really, the process, the work you do, the intention, and even your guilty pleasures. It's been really great having you. It's been wonderful to talk to you. And thanks for taking part.
Thank you very much. I'm really delighted to be here with you. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. And again, congratulations for this second anniversary and for the very nice community that you have. And I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you very much. And to everyone listening and or viewing this, thanks for listening. And we'll see you at the next interview. Bye.
Bye.